Welcome to the InStory show. I'm Devorah Spilman, your host, and today I am thrilled to welcome InStory expert Elizabeth Evans. Hi, Elizabeth.
Hi, Devorah. Good to be here.
Thank you. So, Elizabeth is a wellness coach, a healer, and a massage therapist, and we're going to dive into how she got through almost dying in the fire, the Paradise Fire, and it's a year anniversary. Her entire house burned down, and she joined InStory right before that happened, and was then interviewed shortly after. And now we're at the year anniversary of the fire, and so Elizabeth is she's gonna take us a little bit into what does it mean to get through something like that, to get back up, and really she is really going to take us into how to move through that fear of being seen, because she's constantly stepping through that and has some techniques to help you do it too. So Elizabeth, thank you so much for coming on and bravely talking about what you have gone through. So start us out a little bit with where things are at now with the community that lost everything in the campfire in Paradise and so forth.
Thank you, Devorah. Sure, I'd love to share with you where I'm at right now. I'm being asked to be a part of let's say a performance coming up here on November 10th. The commemoration date is November 8th, and there's a lot of activities going on in my community to honor the whole experience this last year we've all gone through. And a lot of the area want to come together to perform, as well as some dancers, and there's some art exhibits going on, and they're going to do some little performances, and I was asked to be a part of one of the performances that's doing a little writing piece and performing it by sharing my little story about what I went through. And that was a pretty big deal for me to say yes to, and I have to thank Devorah for that, because he nudges us along in this wonderful InStory way that I've been a part of this year. If you've followed my story at all, it's been a very difficult year for a lot of us to work through the trauma of losing not only our homes, but our communities. And I really reached out to help my community with the work that I do, and just to be a part of this anniversary. And I can't really call it a celebration, but it really is that we've come this far in a year after a lot of trauma to share our stories and come together and heal. And the title of the music event is called Joy Will Find a Way. And that's been what we've kind of grabbed onto as our lifeline of just finding those little joys in our lives to celebrate and the things that we're grateful for. So it really was let's just say a little moment of hesitation when I was asked to perform at this, to say no. And then I thought, oh no, don't back off. This is a chance to really serve the community and share my story. And that's really the growth I've noticed this year, is even though I'm uncomfortable putting myself out there, I'm yes to it. And that's, I think, the theme, dare to be seen, and how that's serving the greater good than just staying small.
You know, it's interesting, Elizabeth, you said a really important thing, which is it serves a greater good. Like, there comes a point where staying in hiding doesn't serve a purpose. Like, the fact that you're going to tell your story is going to make a difference for others. And I think it's important that you said that. And for a lot of people to realize that the work of daring to be seen also has to do with the difference you can make.
Yeah, and I think that's the biggest message we can really focus on with whatever work we're doing, is how are we serving a greater good and connecting, not only helping other people connect in to their joy inside, or what's important to them, but to a greater community that creates a sense of health in the community. We can all share from that authentic place. And I think that's what this commemoration of the fire is people gathering together to really celebrate what's really valuable, what's really essential in our communities to rebuild, you know, because it could happen anywhere. And how do we handle crisis, or how do we come out of it, and how do we create a stronger community, even if there is no crisis, you know, because there is on many levels different crises going on that we have to look at in our culture right now, especially, I think.
Well, you know, and that leads me to two things, but I think first to start with, talk a little bit about, like, you know, I always have people start with their childhood stories, but I felt like for you, it was like we really had to start with the fire story because it's such a story of human resilience that is just amazing that you're still going to find joy. But talk a little bit about what it was like for you when you were a child, and how did that affect this whole part of you that struggles to be seen, that I think so many people bump into.
Sure. As a child, I had an older sister, still do. We're 4 years apart. I'm the youngest. And as a little child, I felt some kind of inner struggle to, I guess, because I was always feeling like I was in competition with her to want to be like my big sister. She was very good at whatever she did. And whenever I tried to do the same thing, of course, I didn't have the skills like she had. And so I would compare myself. But then I noticed that when she was in school, I was not in school yet. She would come home and was bullied. And I would notice how unsafe that was to come out and share one's creativity, that I immediately got the message it wasn't safe out in the world to be myself. And we ended up moving when that was happening, the bullying was happening. It just was a timely thing anyway for my father and mother to change cities. And my mother really wanted a safer community for us to grow up in. But that set the stage for me to realize that this world is not a safe place. And so I really kept in what I felt was like my creative side, my goofy side, my silly side, and the side of me that wanted to make people feel good and make them laugh and feel comfortable. I always felt really happy when I was around people I trusted, that we all could laugh freely and make jokes or have fun together. And I noticed one of my best friends was terribly teased at school. She had come here from Greece, and kids would say, you know, greasy spoon, grease, she's so dirty, she's greasy, you know, and they'd all make fun of her. And I, again, got the message as a child it wasn't safe to be around other people. And the social media, a lot of cyberbullying happening was another trigger for me to not want to come out into the world and share what I have to say, because maybe that wouldn't be well received. And there are, again, people out there that create a lot of dis-ease, as I say. And coming from a place in my, I want to help people feel comfortable and to be themselves, and myself wanting to feel safe to come out. I really was nervous to kind of join this whole movement right now on social media and the internet. And yet what was pulling me was this sense of, how can I make a bigger difference? What's for the greater good? And even though my fears were up, to put myself out there, I felt like I would reach more people in a good way than the negative that I would receive. And that's, I think, where having a community of people here first, as I've experienced with Devorah's InStory way, a lot of safe people to kind of practice on to what is my message that I want to bring out in the world, really made a huge difference to say that is more important to focus on than the negative.
Right. And I think you're really right that this idea that you get to try it out in a safe community, because in the end, the people who we want to hear our message are really the ones who want to hear it.
Right.
And in our families, often we were saying things, or our local communities, to people who weren't open to it. And so what I think is happening is you're getting proof each time you come out and share, and maybe you'll talk a little bit about your work at the Cancer Center. Every time you come out and share, and it's true for everybody, you get confirmation when people love what you do. It starts to rewire that fear so that you
Right.
become able to tell yourself, just like you did, like, I'll be okay, right? Because you've been in InStory, right? And so when you got asked to speak on stage, you were able to go, okay, this is scary, but I'm going to do it because I am able to tell the negative voice to be quiet.
Right.
So it's extremely powerful. And I think it's also important what you said, that you chose the higher good you could do over the fear you felt. It's like, it's not as if the fear is gone,
Right.
right? So
That's true.
so talk a little bit about the work you do at the Cancer Center and what that is, and
Yeah, about
why you do it.
25 years ago, I got the opportunity to work at the Cancer Center. It's a cancer retreat program through the organization called Commonweal. It's spelled the old English way, COMMONWEAL, which means for the common good. So there's that theme again. How do we serve the common good? And that was definitely a group of people I resonated with, and they saw something in me that at the time I hadn't fully embodied, but they saw that part of me that really was of service, wanted to learn, and how I could best serve them was to use my skills as a healer through massage therapy, that I was really present with each person that I met there. And Dr. Rachel Naomi Remen wrote the book Kitchen Table Wisdom, and I had met her, and she sensed that I had this ability to be with people in a very caring way, and that was perfect for that. That was a good fit for that program. And so over the years, that experience being there taught me how to be really present with people where they're at, and to really heal through the listening, the active listening and caring about somebody in the present moment, and just offering that witnessing where a person is at is really the first steps of a lot of people's healing, to just feel like somebody is listening and caring and giving that attention. And oftentimes just hearing what somebody's going through in a genuinely caring way sets the stage of a deeper relaxation for the next deeper level to come surfacing up to awareness. And by the end of the week, people are transformed, and you can't even really describe what caused it. It was a whole bunch of, I guess, experiences where the people felt received. They felt like people are listening. They are relaxed. They are able to look at their pain in their lives, what might have been precursors to the cancer. And by the end of the week, the transformation is just so undeniable. People's wrinkles and their faces are, scrunched up when they come. And then when they leave, they're just, standing in their divinity, really. They're just so glowing. You just cannot even believe that they're the same person.
Wow.
And through that, I get transformed too, because it really is about healing versus curing. People leave there, maybe the cancer will take them out, maybe they will die of the cancer, but they leave there feeling healed. They feel like there's wholeness again. They can take the next step to the next whatever they're facing with courage and grace. And that would leave me feeling so humbly honored that I got to witness that I would go home with such an awareness of each moment is so precious that we have. It's a gift. But really, that hadn't fully sunk into my bones until the fire happened, because that was like having a cancer diagnosis. And I spoke a little bit about that earlier, but in one of the other interviews. But that fire really woke me up to that personal experience of that could have taken me out. I could have died in that fire, and I have another chance. I have a moment I get to live, and what am I going to do with that? So that woke me up to, even though I'm nervous to come out in the world and be seen, how can I better serve not only the greater good, but my own inner calling to, I guess, share more of me in the world. And that was a very big, important part of this last retreat I was at with the cancer retreat. That was in October. And one of the counselors, she remembered that I played piano, and she asked me to play piano for this session at the retreat, where we have a healing circle and people share where they're going through in a really deep way. And she wanted me to end that whole healing circle with piano. A piece of music I played as a child, I learned from my mom, and it was by Claude Debussy. It was called Clair de Lune, and it's very evocative of just this feeling on a deep level of the ocean and the moonlight coming on the water. And she said, it's perfect for what I want with this group, and you're the perfect one to play it. And I thought, well, she could be a professional pianist to play this. Why is she picking me? And she says, no. This is not about really the piano music being from a professional. It's because it's coming from you, and it's your presence. And I really had to take that in, that she was finding more value in what I brought to the experience than somebody who's probably played piano a lot longer and better than I did. So it was a real humbling experience again to just show up, even though I was nervous and scared. And I call myself a closet pianist with a very large closet I had at home, but no, I didn't. I really just forced myself to play in front of everybody. And I had such an amazing response from people that really felt that healing through the music. That was enough information of what I'm came out of all those experiences to really be a presence online and do the greater work that I'm doing with the business that I started, calling it Health Revolution Training. So I'm really diving into how can I help people through that healing wisdom teaching within, and really that calling from within. And what does that healing look like? What is it that stops us from coming forward? A lot of these triggers happen, but we have to then identify, oh, that's just an old script, and what is it I really want to give to the world?
Well, that kind of leads perfectly into your free gift, because
right.
So that's perfect. Because you're such a beautiful example, Elizabeth, of not letting those old fears stop you. Right? Because they come up, and everybody, if you're watching and you have them, it's okay. It's kind of normal. And Elizabeth has an amazing gift for you that's really like a tool to help you move through that. So talk a little bit about what they're going to get.
Sure. So my business idea I had some time ago was to really look at what part of each person is, what area in a person's life is stuck or out of balance, and to get in touch with that part. And so I called it the healing wisdom teaching, and that was like starting a revolution in your own life, that inner revolution, to really dive deep into what is stopping you from living the life you really want. And to me, it was through the cancer program, asking myself, if I died tomorrow, would I be happy with how I lived my life? Would I have regrets? Would I feel sad that I didn't do that one thing, that I could have played that piece of music and brought a smile to somebody's face, or I really touched somebody in a way that made them laugh or joy and sparked their interest? And for me, it was really, how do I connect with people in a bigger way? And this technique was really about going within and finding your own personal recipe of healing. And I came up with some strategy of using that healing wisdom teaching for helping people go from feeling stuck to being in the flow. So I really, really recommend you looking at what in your life is where you're stuck, and here are some tools that would help you. There's some greater conversation that I want to provide for people that want to get on my website, healthrevolutiontraining.com, and really have a deeper conversation about that. So I for everybody, for a half an hour consultation conversation about that. But here are some tools I'm offering as the free gift. You feel like just exploring that in yourself.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. None of us can make that shift out of where we're stuck or out of resistance alone. So get that free gift, click on the link, get the free gift, go through some of the steps, and then share in the Facebook group what happened, like what shifted, and then reach out to Elizabeth to see if you can take it a step further to really commit to coming out of hiding and being seen. Because you can hear we're being called forward to do this. It's like it's not just us, it's also you guys watching. So Elizabeth, as we're kind of wrapping up, leave us with a few last words of inspiration.
Well, I think we all have a unique combination of and talents and skills and experience to share and express in the world, and we all learn from each other. We all have something to give that would help another person too. And I think when we all knit together in a community, when we lock arms and express within this community, that sense of unsafety is dispelled. You know, when we can trust we're working with people in a community that resonate with what we have to give, it does build that confidence and that light in the world that we all need, you know, and we can't do it alone. And life is better together when we share, you know, from that pure place and that authentic place, to just let those stuck places start to dissolve, and that your own personal recipe on what that looks like. And I'm certainly here, as well as Devorah, to help us dissolve those stuck places. And so I'm grateful to you, Devorah, as well as everybody listening. We all need each other.
Yeah, we certainly do. And it is really amazing because now with the internet, we can find each other so much better. So,
Yes.
So we're so glad you're here. Everybody get Elizabeth's free gift, post in the Facebook group. And as I always say in farewell, remember to go out in the world and share your story, live your purpose, and be a blessing. Bye, folks.
Bye, thanks.